We're in Pilates and yoga blend. I'm Blythe. Thank you for coming. Let's start on our mats. I want to make sure you can see. I've got just hand weights and a TheraBand and something for underneath my back later. Today we're going to start standing just to get warmed up right away. I'm going to use my hand weights right away. Have my feet hip distance apart, and I'm gonna have my arms bent or elbows bent, arms kind of at 90. I'm gonna start with some squats just to warm up. I'm gonna sit down low and move pretty slow in this class. I'm gonna lift my elbows up to the height of my shoulders, and I wanna make sure I'm using the backs of my legs and glutes to lift myself to stand, and I'm pulling my arms back. They're keeping at 90 though. So I'm sitting low. Elbows are lifting to the height of the shoulders, and then I'm going to push myself up with the backs of my legs and pull my arms back. Keep your arms at 90, just bending your knees, trying to keep your back long. You can see my shoulders end up quite a bit farther forwards than my hips, but my back's staying long and my belly is trying to pull up towards my back so that my core muscles stay engaged. So that, you know, if my core muscles relax as I'm moving like this, then my back would sway a little bit. And I'm just trying to keep my back long. Trying to keep glutes really active as I push myself up. And then the next time that we come up to stand, we're gonna stay there. I'm gonna just lift my arms up, elbows to shoulder height, and then let my arms draw back. Doesn't really matter if you have weights or not. When we do this enough repetitions, we will feel our arms and our upper back strengthen, which is really important for our postures. When we think about our postures, we often think, oh, I need to get really strong core muscles, but we need our upper back strong to keep our shoulders back. So I like to always spend time on that area. Try and move through the whole body so we get all the muscles working up. The next time that the arms are up, hold them there. Just open the arms wider, keeping at 90, and then pull the forearms in front of the face. Open the arms wide, and then pull the forearms in front of the face. Just move your arms as much as feels comfortable. Holding the elbows up towards the height of the shoulders, we should be getting quite a lot of strength just from the weight of the arms, whether you have weights or not. Trying to keep equal weight in both feet, so in both legs. Good. Take two more like this. I hope that it feels like your arms are getting a little bit tired out, and then hold your arms open so they're at this goalpost shape. And then I just want to take tiny pulses. The elbows are going to lift a tiny bit up and then just back down to shoulder height. Try and not let them drop down too much. If you rest, that's okay. Just rest and then come back into it. Take 3 more pulses. So let's go 1, 2, and 3, and then let's let the arms come all the way down. Just really gently let your arms come forwards and back, kind of shaking them out in a slow motion way. Then I'm going to sit down into my squat, and I'm going to stay here. And I'm going to let my shoulders come forwards of my hips. Then I'm letting my arms draw back, and then just wrists underneath the shoulders again. So you're pulling your arms back and then wrists under the shoulders. Take this a few times. If it feels like any strain on your back, then take your squat not quite as deep. So you might be more up like this, you might be a little bit farther down, but make sure your legs are holding you in that squat and your core muscles are working to keep your low back safe. And then the next time that the arms are back, you're gonna hold them back. Then you're gonna try and pull your thumbs towards each other, and then arms open up wide. So thumbs pull towards each other, and then arms open up wide. This way you're gonna feel the triceps working the backs of the arms. If you have weights or not, the weight of the arms should feel heavy. Keep going. You'll feel your shoulder blades squeezing together and your upper back strengthening as your thumbs pull together. Likely the hands won't touch, but they're just moving that direction. Let's just take 2 more. 1, good, and 2. When the arms open up, you can just stand all the way up. Let's take our weights down to the ground. Start at the back of your mat now. And I'm gonna, with big bends in my knees, I'm gonna roll down into my forward bend, but I have big bends in my knees. My hands are gonna find the ground, and then I'm gonna walk forwards into a plank, so top of a push-up. Once I get there, I wanna keep my back long and let my knees touch the ground, but I'm still in a plank shape, just on my knees. It should be a lot of work. Now, there's no movement, but try and imagine your hands were pulling apart from each other, like you wanted to tear the mat in half lengthwise. So push your hands really hard into the ground and then try and pull them apart. You see if the sides of the upper arms get a little bit more strong. You might feel them shaking a little bit if you're really pulling your hands apart, but they're just stuck, like they're glued on the ground. Then start to lower all the way down to the floor and take your arms back alongside the body with the palms up to the ceiling. Press the hips heavy to the ground, then lift the chest up in a milk with it. You can hold there and breathe. You'll look to the ground so that your neck is long. Then we're gonna lift our arms up, and just like we were doing, arms are gonna open up wider and then pull thumbs together over the low back or over the bum. Arms open up and then thumbs pull together, and try and look to the ground. The glutes are active because you're pressing the hips down. Really, the whole back line of the body is active. Try and press the tops of the feet down into the ground so much you might end up feeling your kneecaps are off the ground because your toes are pushing really hard into the floor. Let's just take this once more and then lower the chest and the arms down. Take your hands by your ribs and push yourself into tabletop. So hands and knees. You're gonna keep a bend in your knee, and you're gonna lift your right leg up until the knee comes to the height of the hip. And then you're gonna let the knee come back down underneath the hip. You keep the knee bend so the leg stays at 90. We're taking just a few like this before we add on. If this feels like, this is enough work for me, stay doing this. You wanna make sure the pelvis is steady. Hip bones are pointing towards the floor. Belly is pulling up. As your leg lifts up, we want the low belly to stay pulling to the back so we don't get any swaying in the low back. The next time that the thigh is up, hold it. You're just gonna stretch your leg super long, and then you're gonna bend your knee a lot and try and get the heel towards the bum. Stretch the leg really long, and then bend your knee until the heel draws towards the bum. Keep going like this. Leg stretches long, then you bend the knee a lot. Good. Now we're trying to strengthen the back of the right leg, holding it up like this, the back of the right glute, and then you might feel the outer left glute because you want the outer left glute working to keep the left thigh bone really steady. You don't have the left hip moving out wider to the left. Try and keep it pulling in towards midline, center line of the body. The next time that the leg is long, hold it there. And we're gonna start to draw the knee to the nose, and we're gonna round the back a little bit. So knee pulls to the nose and you round the back, and then straighten the leg long behind you, and the back comes long again. Knee to the nose or thigh to the belly, whatever makes sense for you, and then straightening the leg long, and you want the back long too. knee to nose, chin pulls in towards the chest, and then leg comes really long and the back comes long. One more time, knee to nose, chin to chest, and then the leg comes really long. Good. Then bend your knee, knee to the ground. You're gonna let your right arm, I'm gonna face towards the camera. The right arm is gonna come out wide, and option to use a weight here if you like. The wrist is at the height of the shoulder. We're gonna take these kind of gentle twists. We're gonna thread the right arm underneath the left arm, and the right ear is gonna come towards the floor, and you bend the left elbow a little bit. And then you push into the left hand, the left arm comes straight, the right arm lands back where we started, out to the side, wrist shoulder height. We're gonna thread the right arm below the left arm, the left elbow bends a little bit, you look over towards the left, your right ear is coming towards the ground, and then push into the left hand, left arm comes long, right arm lands back, flat with the ceiling, wrist shoulder height. 2 more times. Right arm threads underneath the left, bending the left elbow out towards the left, and then push into the left arm to straighten the arm, lift yourself back to where you started. 1 more time. Bending the left elbow, right arm threads underneath, right ear comes towards the floor, pushing into the left arm, right arm comes wide. Stay with the arm straight and out to the side. Let your right hand tap down to the ground wide, and then lift it back up. 4 more times. This is 1, and lift. 2, try and keep your chest pointing down to the ground. So we're not taking any twists now. We're trying to keep the back really steady. This is our last one. And when the arm comes down, you can keep it there. Place the right hand on the ground. Left arm is going to find your left weight if you got one. The wrist is coming up to the height of the shoulder. And we're threading the left arm underneath the right. And your right arm is coming, you're bending your elbow. Left ear towards the ground. Push into your right arm. Left arm comes wide. Again, thread left hand underneath the right. Right elbow is coming wider to the right, left ear is coming towards the floor, pushing into the right arm to lift you back up. Left wrist lands at the height of the shoulder. 2 more times, threading under, pushing yourself back to where you started, moving slow. 1 more time. Good, and then this time when you come back up, left arm is wide, left arm is straight, and you're tapping your hand or the weight to the ground, and then lifting it straight back up. Do not let the back turn. Keep the back really long. We've got 3 more to go. 1. The core muscles should be working. 2. And this is your last one. When the hand comes down, keep it down. Gonna face sideways again. Maybe just for a break for your wrists, come up onto high knees. And let's just have the arms back up at 90. You're gonna open the arms wide and then stretch your arms to the ceiling. I'll face forward. Bend your elbows, close your arms in just for a quick break for the wrists. Arms open up wide, and then arms straight to the ceiling in a V shape. 90-degree, arms pull in, arms open up to that goalpost shape, then push your arms straight up. Make sure the glutes are working to keep the hips over the knees. We'll take 1 more like this. Arms pull in, open up, stretch to the ceiling, and this time just arms all the way down, coming back to your tabletop. Left leg, keeping a bend in your knee. You're letting your thigh bone push up to the ceiling with a bent knee, and then knee underneath the hip. Letting the left thigh bone pull up towards the ceiling, and knee underneath the hip. Take a few more like this. Good. You're feeling the back of the left glute work, I hope. and the left hamstring. You're feeling your upper body, arms, upper back, core, all strong to keep your form. Focus a lot on keeping the rest of the body still as your left leg moves. The next time the left leg is up, you're going to keep it up, keep the thigh bone exactly where it is, straighten your left leg, and then bend your knee so that the heel comes towards the bum. Straighten your leg long, and then bend your knee, heels coming towards the bum. Keep going. Try and keep your left outer hip pulling in towards midline of the body. Watch that the left hip doesn't get too wide out to the left. It helps for your balance, but not for your strength. Good work. 2 more like this. Here's 1. And then 2, and you're keeping your leg long and up, and then drawing knee to nose under the belly. So tuck the chin in, round the back, pull the thigh up, and then straighten the back and kick your leg long. Knee to nose, tuck the chin in, round the back, push the ground away, and then stretch the leg long. 3 more times, pulling knee to nose. Stretching the leg long. 2 more, knee to nose, pulling in and stretching back. Last one, pulling in and stretching back. Bend your knee, let the knee come down. We're going to tuck the toes under, lift into downward dog, so hips pull to the ceiling. You might have to walk your feet back after being in your tabletop, then just pedal out through the legs like you're walking in the same spot. Trying to really push your heels towards the ground. 1 heel at a time, pushing towards the floor to stretch deeper through the back of that leg, especially at your calf. 1 more pedal on either foot, and then carefully come back down into tabletop, hands and knees. I'm gonna just lift myself up all the way into high kneeling, and then I'm coming down to my back. So I'm just gonna slide down. Legs are coming forwards. Now, if you have a pillow or something to put underneath your low back, I have a really soft like foam block. I'm gonna use that for underneath my back. Totally optional. And I have my TheraBand as well. And I'm gonna use that, but you can reach your arms to the ceiling. Nothing fancy, we're just gonna try and lie down. Have your knees bent, feet on the ground. And I'm gonna lift my hips up. You might be using a pillow or a block, whatever. Make sure it's soft, I would say. Slide it underneath your low back. And then we're gonna move to the TheraBand after. We're gonna lift our right leg into tabletop, and then the left leg into tabletop. This is knees over top of the hips, shins flat with the ceiling. I'm gonna kick my right leg forwards on a 45, and then draw the knee over the hip. Kick my left leg forwards on a 45, and then draw the knee back over the hip. Right leg kicks forwards and in. Left leg kicks forwards and in. Go slow. You're gonna end up with more strength. I find the slower that you go. Just try and stay focused. We have a few more minutes to get in our extra core work. Keep the pace slow and steady though. 1 more either leg. And then we're gonna change it up. So after your left leg pulls in, I want you to place your left foot down to the ground, but keep your right leg in your table. Then let's find our TheraBand, if you've got it. If not, just reach your arms straight up. And I'm gonna pull my arms up to the ceiling. Wrists are over top of the shoulders, and I've got a bit of tension on my band. Then I'm gonna start to kick my right leg forwards, and I'm gonna pull my band wider apart. And then let my arms draw back in and my knee come back over my hip. So arms pull wider as my right leg kicks forward. There's tension on the band. Then I'm bending my knee and there's less tension on the band as my arms draw back in. 4 more. 1, 2, go slow. 3, and 4. Keep your arms up. Let your left leg lift to table, right foot down to the ground. Left knee is over the left hip. Same thing this side. Pull your hands apart and push your leg forwards, your left leg. And then draw your left knee in over the hip, arms come back together. Pull your hands apart. Keep control of the band as your hands draw back together. Try not to let the band just pull yours or snap your hands back towards each other. Really keep control of the band. I just have something under my back because it helps to kind of tip your pelvis up. It's totally fine if you're just flat on the ground, but you want to make sure to keep your back neutral. If you have nothing underneath your back, let's just take this once more. Working with our coordination in this one. And then place your left foot down, keep your arms up. I'm going to let you stretch your arms way back behind you. If you have the band, hold some tension on it. And then let your arms lift back up, wrists over the shoulders. Let your arms pull back behind you. And let your arms lift back up, wrists over the shoulders. One more time. Arms stretch back. And arms lift back up. Let's take the band off to the side, lift your hips up, take the block out from underneath the back, ending with some bridge lifts. Work for the backs of the legs. Heels are underneath of the knees. Start to roll your back up. Try and lift your back just one bone at a time off the ground. It's really steady. And then lower your back down one bone at a time, slow down to the floor. Keep going. You pull the hips up to the ceiling, slow, one bone of the back lifts up, and then you're lowering down slow. Think of your back kind of like a wave, like rolling up and down. Feel that the glutes are really active throughout the whole movement until you place your sacrum, your low back down on the ground again. The next time that the hips are up, I just want us to keep them up at the top of our bridge. And then let your toes pull up off the ground. So your toes are pulling to your shins. And then place your toes back down. Again, all your toes lifting off of the ground towards your shins. And then toes back down. So you're just ending up on your heels as your toes and the balls of the feet lift up. The next time that your toes come back to the floor, I want you to switch, lifting your heels up and then heels back down. Heels lift up and heels lower down. 5 more times, slow. 1. Try and lift the heels at the same speed and lower them down at the same speed. Sometimes you feel like your legs are shaking a little bit as your heels lower down. That's okay. The next time that your heels touch the floor, start to lower your back down, super slow, one bone at a time. And then I'm gonna let you reach either arm over your head and roll over to that one side. Push yourself all the way up. And then we did a lot of strength for the glutes. I just want you to straighten one leg out to the side, bend the other knee, and then just turn towards that leg, lean forwards any amount. You might find just straightening the leg, you find a big stretch through the back of the leg without leaning forwards. If that's the case, No need to lean forwards. If you don't feel the stretch, that's when you can lean forwards. Even though the movements that we take do require lots of like lengthening as we stretch our legs long and our back and our arms long, we still want to get a little bit of time to have a stretch. Just lift yourself back up and then switch legs. You can bend to the other knee, other leg comes long. I like to turn my shoulders towards my foot and then just lean forwards. Again, I'm only leaning forwards to feel the stretch more, trying not to push it too much. As soon as you feel it, it's enough. Good, and then just lift yourself back up. You are all finished. Time went by so quick.